Nearly 50 years from the 1973 decision to legalize abortion nationwide, Roe v. Wade, one would think the country is a much different place when it comes to abortion. In fact, the abortion rate fell dramatically since the Roe decision, according to Guttmacher Institute, which supports abortion rights, but their data is widely cited by groups, publications across the political spectrum. Abortion rates peaked in 1981 when the U.S. saw more than 29 abortions per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44. By 2020, the most recent year Guttmacher provided abortion rate data for, that number was down to a little more than 14 abortions per 1,000 women. One thing that has not changed since the Roe decision was exactly what we know about when life begins, a central question in the Roe decision, according to the justices that wrote the majority opinion. In the majority opinion in Roe, the late Justice Harry Blackmun, a Nixon appointee to the court, wrote in part, quote, "We need not resolve the difficult question of when life begins, when those trained in the respective disciplines of medicine, philosophy, and theology are unable to arrive at any consensus. The judiciary at this point in the development of man's knowledge is not in a position to speculate to the answer." For some perspective, we bring in Radica Roe, law professor at the University of California's Hastings College of Law in San Francisco, former clerk for Justice Blackmun. Obviously, the challenges to Roe began right when it was decided. I know you spent a lot of time with the justice. Did he ever change his philosophy or his ideas on how this case was decided and look at this today as a possibility?
No, he would have been appalled, and he would have been so distressed that Roe really, he came to be known as the author of Roe. He said it was a decision, that a label that he would carry with him to his grave. He would be so distressed today to see that Roe itself is no longer, that it has been killed.
That said, did he anticipate the possibility that it could happen on the basis of how it was decided? When we look at how Justice Alito argued the decision, it was really sort of taking apart Justice Blackmun's reasoning.
It really was. Justice Alito is very mocking and caustic in his analysis. And he says Roe was egregiously wrong. And Justice Blackmun was very protective of Roe, and he knew that it was often criticized. He often said in his dissents that, he talked about his age. I'm 83 years old, I'm 85, and I won't last forever. And one day this decision might be overturned. He feared it, but I think he hoped that it wouldn't happen. And I never thought I would see the day when it has happened. But here we are.
You lived through this time of this great change in the way America interpreted the Constitution, the way the Supreme Court interpreted the Constitution is reading in the rights of privacy, contraception, sodomy laws being overturned, and then eventually same-sex marriage being allowed based on all these rulings. What has changed in America that a Republican-appointed judge created Roe in this doctrine, and now it's a Republican court that overturns it?
Yes, I think it's really the rise of the religious right and kind of the weaponization of religion. Because as you said, Justice Blackmun himself was a Republican. He was appointed by Nixon, a Republican president. He wasn't some out there very left person when he came to the Supreme Court. But he was also a lawyer for doctors. He had been the legal counsel, the chief legal counsel for the Mayo Clinic, one of the most eminent medical institutions in the country. So he really thought about doctors and the practice of medicine. And Roe protects not just a right to an abortion, it's a right to basic health care, basically. So he conceptualized it in that framework. But today, with the politicization and the weaponization of religion, what is previously been viewed as a right to health care is now viewed as, by some, an act of murder.
Well, it certainly is outlawed that way in a number of states. Professor, it's good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.